Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Martech Brain, a Netcore initiative where we speak to the best marketing brains in the country and hopefully soon globally. Today, my guest is Gagan Singla. He's the Chief Strategy Officer at India Infoline, and in his role, he primarily looks at digital strategy and digital growth. Previously, he was CMO at Angel Broking. He's also been an entrepreneur in the earlier part of his life. And the chosen topic where we go deep, as you know, in Martech Brain on deep in one topic, his chosen topic is digital consumer psychology versus science. I mean, it's a fascinating topic, and we'll dig deep into it to see what Gagan has to say. Welcome to Martech Brain, Gagan.
Thanks, Rajesh, for having me on this excellent series that you are doing, and I'm honored to be able to talk to you for this 40 minutes.
Thank you. So, digital consumer psychology versus science. I mean, this is one of those esoteric topics, but you have some fascinating thinking on that. So, explain the topic a little bit for us.
Yeah, see, the reason digital consumer psychology is something I love to talk about because in the last 6, 7, 8 years I've spent in digital since digital became big, right? I've always heard the word scientific, and we have all been trained. I'm also an engineer and MBA, and we've always been trained to be scientific. But the moment you start consumer engagement, you start realizing that you're dealing with humans, and that too when you're dealing with mass consumers, they are not going to be scientific. All of us don't make scientific decisions. We make emotional decisions. We make decisions based on impulse. We make decisions based on things which make us happy and drive us and so on. For that matter, there's enough research which shows that actually some of the decisions which are appearing to be the most scientific, actually most emotional. I have read a research globally published multiple times that all decisions on buying a car are always non-scientific. Right? So basically, what I learned in the last 7, 8 years, as I went from starting with the whole world of digital marketing, digital analytics, and saying, let us do scientific engagements, let us do scientific interjections, let us do objective activities when we're dealing with consumers. I started learning that consumers don't respond scientifically. So, as an example, as I keep on saying, there was this one notification once I got saying in your cart you have done something which is abandoned. You get it once to see it, then you keep getting it for every time you stop seeing it. It is the most scientific probably notification you get, or a mailer, but you don't like to see it, however logical it sounds. But then I got a notification saying, "Hi, handsome," and I was like very excited. Nobody has called me handsome actually, so I saw it. Right, so I was very excited to see that. So what I'm trying to say is that human decision making is not based on science, but they're based on psychology. So consumer psychology is something which we need to study, and I think traditional marketers are very good at it. But the digital ecosystem has driven us to be completely objective and scientific, and we should now kind of understand that humans will respond based on what drives them and what makes them happy and so on, and therefore that is what I want to kind of I think I'm a constant student there. I want to constantly learn there, and I always try to keep reading if possible any articles, anything I comes across, how to learn how to handle consumer psychology.
So this is very interesting. What you're basically saying is that in the traditional world, marketers handled the emotional aspects of customers very well.
Correct.
But once the customer started going digital, they fell back into, acha, this is where the person is in the journey. Now I have to send a mail exactly with that journey or a
Correct.
notification on that. And that whole emotional element has been completely lost out.
Yeah, so I think, for example, filmmakers, right? Filmmakers make very good content, and all of us, it's one of the largest billion-dollar industry, right? They make emotional content. I don't know how scientific it is. There must be using some science. I'm not saying science is bad, but science is only a part of the game. So I'll give you a few more examples. When I was in Quikr some time back, we had always made digital ads in such a way that when a person clicks on that ad, the landing page is completely aligned to what the ad is. For example, if somebody is searching for used cars in Nashik, right? So you will want to give a link which actually lands them on used cars in Nashik, right? But what we realized is that sometimes the keywords have three levels of selection. So it's used cars of, let us say, a brand, any brand, let's say Maruti in Nashik, right? So now we can actually take them to a most objective page, which is used Maruti cars in Nashik, right? But what we found out is actually taking the user to the most objective page is actually not giving us the best results. Because humans intend to discover is actually very high and explore. All of us are explorers somewhere, right? So we actually started giving them a page which is one level above, one level filter less, where the last filter is readily available for them to click and go in, but they can actually see used cars in Nashik, but all the brands available, all the brands in front of them. So you found that many users clicked on other brands also. So the reason is that their human exploration is always there. This is another example of pseudo-scientific approach, right? So you're not, otherwise generally the focus will be, let us do completely objective, right? So this is another case where I actually learned on ground, and I spent like, I was new to the area, and I spent days and weeks, and I had not understood consumer thinking at all. So I kept on thinking, why will anybody do that? It took me time to realize that consumers thinking is different.
Yeah, no, I think this is very interesting. And when we were chatting, you were giving the example of TikTok, which really cracked this psychology thing beautifully.
Yeah, see, these days it is kind of a little taboo to talk about the Chinese apps, particularly TikTok is banned. Yeah, having said that, there is no wonder and no shame in saying that they have done a very good job in reaching the mass consumers, and they have been able to kind of appeal to the mass consumers' need and desire to kind of become famous and be on their own and trying to create something. And I think as much science they use a lot of psychology there, and the way they engage with users. They don't just go with science.
So, Gagan, how do you start bringing in these learnings? So, first of all, where do you start learning about, how do you understand consumer psychology? And then the subsequent thing which I want to dig deeper into is, how do you start applying it in the digital world?
See, consumer psychology for me, learning has been on ground only. Right? And as we engage with consumers, the consumers help you learn. Right? But applying to ground is, for example, one scientific method to learn this is A/B testing, right? So when you do A/B testing a lot, you start realizing that you never want to go only with that approach, which is the most scientific approach. You try 5-6 approaches, A, B, C, D, E, if possible, which are sometimes not necessarily the most scientific approach, but the most likable approach, right? Other ways of using consumer psychology is to do a lot of survey, or not a old style survey, but maybe taking 50 people together and showing your digital app or digital journey who are from different walks of life, and you have to hear their responses. Some of the responses are very I'll say you will just feel enlightened sometimes. Oh, this is also a way of thinking. Right? So that kind of gives you better feel of what people are looking for in terms of what is the most objective thing. In finance, one of the big things is we always believe that more money, more return, right, is always the best thing to do, right? But I think there will be cases where people are looking for only ease, right? If you speak to a traditional financial services investment player, they will always want to give just more return, and they believe if we give more return to user will be willing to fill as many number of papers, he will be willing to come to our office, right? But nowadays, I think there will be users who will go with ease, right? And this is like a very naive kind of example. I understand that, but this is a classic example in financial services, right? So a lot of interesting things which come out. I had come out with this one example when users felt that if I am putting a money in a savings account, then it is with me. Because savings account is mine. That money is not saved in bank, it is with me. Right? And the moment a user puts some money in a liquid mutual fund, which is actually redeemable on the same day, they feel that money has gone to the mutual fund company. Right? Now this is psychology, right? You can't kind of change it in one day. You can't even change it in months, right? It will take years, right? So now, even if you're giving them better return, even if you're telling them that you can redeem it instantly, but you're using the word redeem, right? Well, in 100 years, banks accounts in whatever 150 years or whatever years, bank account appears to be तेरा अपना account है, ठीक है? ये तेरा पैसा है, right? So that psychology cannot be taken away, right? You really need to work with that rather than trying to go against it. You probably need to make changes, but that will happen over time.
So how did you get interested in the field of psychology? Because most
no, actually, I'm not interested necessarily in psychology. I'm interested in doing well for my consumers. I have to do well. I have to make the best digital engagement, digital business growth is my target. So I have no option but to learn it. Otherwise, I will not be able to achieve what I want to achieve, what my company wants to achieve. It's a part of the job that I have kind of started learning. It is just natural. Right?
So then how do you, okay, so one is you're saying to learn. You basically, is whether it's A/B testing, whether it's surveys, or probably earlier on, you could also do conversations, and maybe that world will come back soon. So there are learnings which you're picking up, basically, as you would perhaps do in the offline world. You're saying the same logic should actually be applied in the digital world also. And
yeah,
then,
see, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I'm trying to say that the methods of solutions will be different, right? But learning about your consumers is still important, and the way to engage will be different, right? Correct. Earlier you could not do chatbots, now you can do. So that can be a solution to a psychological insight you have got, right? But yes, learning about your consumers' way of thinking is completely required. As you said, I'm learning through my experiences.
And in a way, one of the elements to also bring in is that perhaps bring in the element of surprise also, even though people may be searching for something. Okay, it's not necessarily that it is exactly that they are looking at. Like when we go into stores, okay, we also get surprised. You may go into a store wanting to buy a particular book or a particular type of apparel, but you're always looking around. The discovery element is very important. That's also what you're bringing out here.
I think you brought it out very well. I was actually missing one example. I think this is the one I was missing. The whole element of discovery, surprise element, scratch cards, right? We have used scratch cards for ages, 10s, 20s of years, but now you see the similar online e-scratch cards coming. For that matter, Google's success on Diwali stamps is a demonstration of how people are interested in surprise, and gaming is actually a world there, right? So that is why gamification has been there. Right? But it is all about, I am linking all of this to consumer psychology, but basically the whole element of surprise is huge. I don't know if mass consumers like the things like, you do ABC, I will give you DEF. No, that is not what they only want. They want some surprises. They want some new things, right? So yeah, I completely agree that surprise is a very good element which also generates a lot of value. For that matter, there are people who engage very well on scratch cards in financial services. I have seen, not in India yet, where you can actually, at some regulations it is allowed that you can actually give a share, you can actually give a stock. So once you open a Demat account, you can actually give a scratch card, and people will scratch and they will win one stock of any company in that area. And you can actually win stock of a company of 5,000 also, or $5,000, I mean, or $5 also. So it is very popular, I have heard, in the US. Recently, I read this story somewhere, right? So that is also doing very well there.
So how take this further now? I mean, basically that, okay, we have to bring this in. And now what you're also saying then, therefore, is you have to apply this in the communications that the brand is doing with the customers. That you have to keep this psychology element and as part of the thinking mindset, like the example you gave earlier of Hi Handsome. I mean, it made you click on the mail. Otherwise, our traditional mails, which are cart abandonment, is these are this thing. Arey bhaiya, I know, yaar, I have abandoned the cart there. I mean, I have not completed the transaction, so I know. You don't need to remind me every day. But the way, the tweak that you described, which basically makes people sort of bring a smile or something like that to people.
Yeah.
Sorry. I think it's fascinating. I mean, how do you sort of, you're saying blending both the rationality of communication with the sort of bringing in the emotional element on the digital side, which is typically has been missing in this?
See, in this, there are some other things that we can do, right?
Yes.
We have to often look at data from a completely different angle. Let me tell you some very interesting examples I have seen, right? During the lockdown, right? There will be examples of trying to get a handle on how people have been helping, how people have been kind of still trying to kind of hold on to this difficult times and still working hard, right? Some of this is straightforward, but some of this is not that easy to do, right? Because you are trying to communicate with people with that kind of emotional element there, and I have seen that working many a times. For that matter, we had launched a portfolio called COVID-19 portfolio, right? And even though it is still to give returns because we launched recently, right? We only launched in April. It is the offtake is very high, just because it probably appeals to people, even though it is financial investments, right? So some of these things. So I have started seeing that the whole focus on consumers' emotional aspect is increasing as we go ahead. And I think one of the reasons I find it so useful is because being in financial services for the last 6 years, I have seen that this industry actually does a very bad job at it, because the whole industry, everybody in the company completely thinks of everything completely objectively. They are kind of trained, and they are like hardly trained to leave emotions out and think only numbers, right? So it becomes very tough to kind of move it around. Rajesh, you're on mute, yeah.
Sorry. What would you advise young marketers basically who are getting into maybe a Gagan of 20 years ago? Because I think this is a key idea, because the new world is completely digital. You have digital consumers, digital businesses. And now in this world, understanding the digital customer becomes very, very important. And the angle that you've brought in today is fascinating, that you have to understand psychology and not just look at it from a pure scientific perspective. Now in this, so what is the advice for young marketers? What is
this advice may look very, very mundane, but I think many of us don't do it, right? We need to realize that our consumers are not us. You are not a consumer necessarily. You're not representative of the consumer, right? So I'll give you an example, right? We were sitting in office, we were discussing let us launch a promotion, something as simple as a basic discount, and saying if you do this, we will give you a 200 rupee voucher, right? And half the people in the room saying, yeah, I will not do such a big journey for 200 rupee voucher, right? Mm-hmm. But the fact remains that our consumers were willing to do it, right? So because they believe that this is not a tough thing for them, but we probably are not representative of our consumers. So if there's something people have to do is to spend time with their consumers, right? Spend time with their consumers. Again, I said, it appears to be a mundane thing, but more digital we are getting, less we are probably spending time with the consumers, right? And therefore, learning of psychology of consumers is becoming lesser, right? And I have seen the moment you get into mass consumers, where the whole ticket size are smaller, the income level is smaller, the way those consumers engage with some of your journeys, digital engagement is completely different from the way you engage in it, right? So you really need to spend time and understand how they think, how they respond. You can even do experimentation. You can try out experimentations to see how people respond to various things. Or you can, so that kind of insight of spending time with consumers becomes very, very important to understand how they think. In retail broking and investments, there is completely a different focus of how consumers. Let me come up with something I've recently seen. Right. See, in terms of eKYC, the eKYC journeys, right? We have seen that consumers are actually looking at how easy it is for. So a lot of us thought that people will not be not be willing to divulge information, right?
Mhm.
So that was the traditional financial services thinking, right? People are not wanting to divulge because 20 years back probably tax evasion was high in India, right? And now obviously with online, so there was always a thinking that people will not be able to willing to divulge information, but that is not true anymore, right? People are willing to share everything transparently. So the whole understanding of the consumers willing to share information transparently has completely changed. Has completely changed the journeys. Right? So that is one thing I have also seen recently. Very, very recent in the last 2 years. Right?
Great. I think so. Very, very practical advice. And I think in the digital world, how do you understand customers? I think if you can, consumers, even if you can do that at an early stage and build a roadmap for doing that, it's not easy because in the physical world, you could be standing in the shop and you can watch people, how they move in the aisles in supermarkets, etc., what brands they are picking up. Of course, you have the raw hard data, you get a lot more real data, but I think the softer elements, the sort of uh, adding in the art to the science of marketing and the psychology is really what Gagan is recommending, and I think
Yeah.
that's
You
terrific.
probably need to do more experimentation online. I think that's the best way probably to learn.
Absolutely great. And we come to our last segment now, and we have these 5 ones that we'll run through with Gagan. So, Gagan, one future trend or technology that excites you?
Okay. What future trend or technology that excites me? It is, uh, I think, the way the focus on content will grow, right? I'll say not technology but trend, right?
Mm.
Uh, I think that will be so deep that it will be you will not be able to see it, right? It is so that you as a consumer will not be able to realize how content is kind of impacting them all the time. Right? So that is a trend. I think content. I always underrated the value of content when it came, and now I can see the value of content growing. Right? No matter the way all of us consume content daily, morning, evening, afternoon, from people like us to everybody, the mass, right? I think the impact of content can be so deep is unimaginable. Right? So the way I see my family, small children, everybody, and I see even my maids working at home, drivers. So I'm saying every office people, everybody, the way they consume content, I think the impact will be unbelievable.
Great. And one trend or technology that you've been disappointed with?
The disappointed. See, disappointed. I think there's something I'm disappointed is with AI. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I should not say technology. I am disappointed with. I'm probably disappointed with the way it was adopted. Right? Probably we are jumping too much onto it, and uh, AI is not something. Just every small thing is not AI. Right? So whole artificial intelligence. I have studied artificial intelligence in 1997. Right? There was AI courses we used to do. AI started in 1960s with expert systems. Then it went into now deep learning. I've done deep learning algorithms on ground even today. Right? So just to claim that I've seen the AI's nuts and bolts, we cannot just look at everything and start using AI everywhere. Right? I still think that while the application of AI is mass, but actually execution of the AI technology is still for experts. Right? So it can only give value to mass only if experts do it. Just making a small classifier does not make it AI. Right? So you really need to do it well, and that is I think we should really kind of not let it go its path.
Perfect. Um, uh, Instead of a book reco, you've suggested that you can recommend 2 good people. So I had a book reco and a person or a podcast to follow. But why don't you give us recommendations for 2 people or podcasts, whatever you feel, whom we can?
I unfortunately not spending too much time on podcasts. I do follow Avinash Kaushik a lot.
Okay.
I think Avinash Kaushik has shaped some of my thought processes also. Right. I think I will never forget his views on multiple versions or multiple sources of truth. I was completely coming from a background where every data has to be 100% accurate. When I went into digital, I started learning that 100% accuracy has no meaning. You have to look at directional data. So Avinash Kaushik's insights are unbelievable. And the simplicity of insights is unbelievable. Like looking at picking up anything small and simple and just trying to any small simple journey which is right now live somewhere or consumer experience and trying to find out insights there is unbelievable. So I think it's a just sin not to kind of read them, right?
And any others? Anyone? One more?
I think again, this is again a famous person, Neil Patel. We all talk about, right? I think he's pretty famous, but maybe there are one or two more people similar to Neil Patel, more people. But main thing is that I think the focus on organic is very important. If there is a future trend other than content, if you look at when I talked about content, the value of content is also significantly in organic growth, right? I think one of the future things which will happen and why I'm just trying to kind of intermingle the first question here, is that the focus on organic growth is going to drastically increase now, and trying to grow only on significant amount of paid advertising or paid marketing will drastically come down now. So the amount of focus. So that is why I think this is very, very important in terms of I believe we should follow Neil Patel, and also that focus on organic should be high.
Great. I think well summarized. And my final question is, what is the one key driving belief in your life?
Oh, I think I love my work, and one of the biggest belief I have in life is that I remain happy as long as I am extremely deep into everything that I do. So there are enough. I think it's a $1 trillion industry to talk about happiness. Right? Itself is a $1 trillion industry. But I kind of believe that personally, that everything I do, if I do with complete immersion, I'm happy. Anything which I don't do without immersion, that is sadness, right? So therefore, anything I do, I try to do it with full immersion. Right? So that is what drives me. Right? Even if I'm having tea, I kind of close everything and just have tea. I do it with full immersion, right? So I kind of love it. Right? That what drives me.
Wonderful, Gagan. I think it's been a fascinating conversation. Fully immersed into the conversation.
Yes.
And I think it was very good learning. I think this idea that we need to just not blindly follow the data and the scientific elements and bring in this element of digital psychology, understanding customers. Customers like to be surprised. There's some amount of discovery, something different that you can offer them, not exactly what they are asking, which typically happens in the real world. The challenge, I think, for marketers is how do you bring that into the online world? And that's really what we've talked about today with Gagan. Thank you very much, Gagan.
Thanks, Rajesh, for your time. It is really good, great conversation. I feel honored to have a good audience with you.
And thank you for joining us at Martech Brain. This is a Netcore initiative. Do follow us. We'll be back with a new episode next week. Thank you.
Thanks.